KrazyCaley versus Max Edward Snax.
Yep.
Some say that Max Easy Snacks is the person to beat right now. So let's see if Kaylee can do it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move into that fairly soon here.
Yep, I'm ready whenever you guys are. But I'm very excited about this, certainly. I like it when there's a big disparity, when there's a big upset possible, in part because the player who's considered the underdog, if they know they are, and Max must know that he is, sometimes they do really interesting, aggressive things and play against type specifically because they know why not? You know, how likely am I to win a perfectly straight game playing the game I normally play? Why not do something really creative? So sometimes you can see, if not always close matches when you have these kind of disparities, sometimes you'll get very interesting individual games.
Absolutely.
All right. Are we just about set? And away we go.
Yeah.
Back on library.
Back to library, which this is definitely not Kaylee's pick.
No, no, it's not. And but it's a pick he knows is coming.
Yeah,
In
and
fact, we're gonna send out a press release the first time somebody plays Kaylee and doesn't pick the maps.
actually that's already happened. That's already happened. Catnip did not choose Tayan against KrazyCaley.
Yeah.
She chose the high-rise set.
Well, my memory is that it did not work. I think, you know, the funny thing is, it's just one of those things where even if you don't like it, you just have to play the difference between what you like and what they don't. And it's just the obvious choice, right? I'm not particularly comfortable with it myself, but if I were playing Kaylee today, I probably would pick it anyway.
Yeah, and so Kaylee, here on Spy, has just done a single flirt, a minute gone, kind of against type actually. He's usually very aggressive.
Yeah, a little bit. And, you know, that's the one thing about having a reputation. You know, gee, if only someone would write an article to that effect about leveraging your reputation. I think maybe there's something there.
Yeah, that is an interesting topic. I wonder. For those who don't know what we're talking about, I wrote an article on Spy Party Fans talking about this very subject, so you can
Yes,
check it out there
about
if you like.
cultivating reputation so that people know about it and giving you the opportunity to counterplay. And that seems to be what's happening here. You see Kaylee going for 2 difficult fingerprints, by the way, missing them both.
That is unfortunate. Kaylee, usually very good at hitting green tests.
Yeah, you're basically hoping for one of those two, though. You hit one of those two, you've got plenty of options. You hit none of them, and you've burned a lot of time. On the other hand, you know, if you're Max and you're up against Kaylee, aren't you just going to shoot someone at the end? Especially in library, aren't you going to say they got to be done? Somebody's got to be done. Look at all these highlights, too.
See, that's a thing.
7 now.
Right. That's a lot of highlights, and highlights start to lose their value once you
Right.
have so many of them.
Right. I mean, I've seen. We saw this on Courtyard, I think, in one of our casts last year. Every person but one who wasn't a low light was highlight, and at that point, they're useless. It's like bolding every word in a sentence. The word that's not bolded stands out more. The neutral light looked like the suspect.
Looks like we got a time ad green this time. Green test, finally. I believe that's our first green test of the game. Our flirt was green.
There's
Our
another one.
fingerprints were red, and that's 2 green tests for time ads.
Well, it was 1 for each missed fingerprint. Gets the time right back. That's how it works. You can see Kaylee really doesn't want to finish here. The goal is get this person to shoot. They're probably going to be a little nervous. I have my reputation. It's library. It's easy to be paranoid. I really just want them to fire.
Yeah, and here comes the banana bread. See if we can get
banana bread.
Shot.
Oh, does not take the low light on general for the drink take during BB. Does get a few other highlights knocked out though. I think this is going to work though. I think he's going to have to shoot here sometime in the next minute or so.
Yeah, and there's still over 2 minutes left to go.
Yeah, Kaylee, by the way, behind the pillar during the BB, that means not seen but heard.
Oh, behind the pillar during this purloin. Purloin comes off, and it was just a white. So
look at that laser movement. Oh, he's just back and forth. Who is it? Not sure.
Not sure. Yeah.
He's not thinking it's the person closest to the list, though. That's interesting because, okay, it does pick up a highlight for it, but that's the question, right? If you don't know where the purloin came from, your default assumption is usually, well, who's close?
Yeah, and looks like we do. Oh, but we low lit general, and then we took a shot on him right afterwards. I'm not sure how much I like that, just because it's something where general actually has a drink. When you see the take, When you saw the take and you saw the list disappear, people with drinks suddenly become less suspicious.
Right, and not only that, but he was taking that drink when the BB went off. So I mentioned that he missed that low light on the drink take, and that ends up being a big deal. I think overthought that. I think the simple interpretation is that purloin just happened, so it's the person behind the pillar, or at least someone in this conversation. And instead, there was a lot of hesitation, and then basically just to psych out. Caley obviously making the right decision, but I think with slightly better execution, that wouldn't work.
All right, let's step into the next one. We're gonna go.
And Caley clearly had just made up his mind from the beginning. I'm going to do some Softail stuff, and I'm either going to complete with a lot of subtlety, or I'm just going to count on them to shoot.
Now that's an immediate green purloin. The question is, did Caley see it? There was a lot of activity in the area for him to look at.
We've seen this work in Winter Cup already. Matt did it at the beginning of a veranda game with Smallman and got away with it and scored a mission win even. I think Caley might be on this one, though, or at least he's going to get some significant high-value lowlights. Let's see what happens. He knows the list is gone.
Caley always gets those high-value lowlights. It's very consistent with him.
No,
oh, but
doesn't
the
have
camera
it.
shake. The
Does
camera
not have
shake.
it. That was too quick.
No idea.
And the two he just took, I can't imagine he's even that confident about them.
Yeah, that is pretty brutal. Oh, that was a bug, but it was kind of obscured by the pillar.
Yeah, but let's take a look at the camera movement here. Does he keep Papa on screen? Yes, look at fair bit. So he kept Papa walk across the entire venue more or less, and he was on screen the whole time. That can be a giveaway. Look at him whipping back. There's no one over there who's not low lit except for Papa, and he's still whipping back to him. I think he's got an inkling already.
Yeah, and that's a big problem if you've only got one mission, one fingerprint. And
right.
Even though that mission is purloin, that mission is a big one, right?
It is right. So the force a shot formula is a purloin you got away with that frustrated them, and a good BB. That really puts the pressure on them.
Yeah, but
on the other hand, Caley knows that.
Unfortunately, our seduction target leaves before we can get that flirt off, so we're still on 0%, nearly halfway into this game.
Yeah. Caley's watching that Amba very close, by the way.
Ooh, we're gonna pick up a fingerprint and statues on this.
I think the fingerprint might be clean, but the party's actually marginally well narrowed down. He only got a few low lights to start, but he started taking more aggressive ones. Caley's doing the thing that a smart sniper does. I missed the purloin, but I know I'm behind, so my best option...
cycle, and we break animation, so we're just gonna get shot for it, looks like.
That's rough.
Honestly,
I think... Go ahead.
I think that if you start that third cycle, you just have to commit to it.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you can take the chance that they're not going to whip back in time, but that's not how Caley plays library. Caley looks back and forth. That's what he does.
Yeah, and so we're going to move into pub next, it looks like. Caley on orange, sorry. It's with purloin off, fingerprint on. That's always seems to be the distinction, except for the people who do bug off,
which is pretty rare. Yeah, no, this is the standard choice, and it also makes sense if you think the sniper's going to be a little jumpy, which is clearly what Caley's decided. I should have said, because now it looks relevant, that if he's got sorry, I feel like he's inordinately likely to try a bug, and he does.
And yeah, there's the bug. I mean, doesn't seem to have been caught.
No.
Looks like we were looking at the bar. Highlights are currently 4 visiting the bar, so we're watching a purloin that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I would. That's unfortunate. I think just not noticing, frankly, the mission setup. I think you just inspect in BB. Just do it. Well, he's going to go either silent or statueless from the looks of things.
Statueless is probably stronger on pub.
I think so. I think a little bit. If you get a good chance at the BB, sometimes every now and then pub will not give you any good banana bread opportunities, or very, very few for that matter. So you got to pounce on it when you get it. I
say that statueless is probably stronger, but there's also the fact that banana bread is the contact of double agent is usually a mission that's going to prompt a shot if you're suspicious of someone.
Right. Which is what you want with a jumpy sniper. By the way, goes for a fingerprint there, does not beat the double agent to it. So it looks like that's what Caley was thinking. Maybe they were thinking both.
Yeah. So maybe we just don't go to statues and don't pick up inspects and we win.
And don't BB either, right. So maybe you do nothing. I mean, you're really going to shoot. If you get away with the bug and you seduce and fingerprint, good luck. I think Caley is just going to leverage this advantage. He could be aggressive and try to finish and do what we've been talking about all night, which is go ahead, I dare you to shoot on 3-5 that soon. I think he's going to play it safe instead. He's going to just take a high percentage play, finish a standard game if he can, although he's running low on time with a very slow character.
Yes, and I think it might be actually a little bit important to note that his aggressive spy play, his reputation for that, comes from mostly playing in Diamond. And in Diamond, it always feels like I'm going to win all my sniper games. If I can win one or two spy games, I'm going to win every set from Kaylee, right?
Yeah, it's a little different here.
Because it's much more difficult to win those spy games against Diamond
going
level
silent.
snipers.
Yeah, he's going. It looks like he's going to go. Going to go fingerprint instead. Yeah, he's going to go silent and statueless if he can.
Yeah, so he's gonna let the ambassador take this drink.
Yeah, this is going to work. I'm pretty sure.
Luckily, our seduction target doesn't scare him away. It was just a little bit too far away. We get marked suspicious for probably fingerprints, but we're just not gonna get shot.
Yeah, I just don't see how.
And that's gonna be another win for KrazyCaley on pub, where Max Edward Snax really needs to be picking up some wins.
It's just too powerful. It's just too powerful. It's the who would bug here, so I'm not actually watching bug. That's the power of that bug.
It's also orange standing bug, which is pretty good. No lean.
Pretty darn good. Yeah, even when it's visible like that.
All right. On Taft for this spy game from Max. Let's see what we can do here.
Yeah, so you're down 3-0, which is pretty rough already. But you've got library out of the way. That is something. You're on a soft tail kind of variant map here, though. Kind of feels like any version of this where you score an upset or make it close involves you winning this game.
Right. So we're starting off pretty passive here. No talks, no nothing. No flirts, no contacts, no statue visits, no fingerprints. It's just nothing.
I was going to say, we could just use the word nothing to describe all the things that are not happening. Although there are quite a few things not happening to enumerate. ST not being very helpful either, going for that briefcase. On the other hand, possible
Fingerprint
early...
on bar.
Yeah, that too. Possible early frame target here. That's what you need to think about. You really need a little bit of party help here. If someone could be done, Kayla usually shoots.
Yeah, and that's where you want to be headed for with Max here.
Yeah, and so I'm surprised they're actually going for the fingerprint. So that's a very significant choice. It shows that they at least want to keep their options open. They're not necessarily committed to the frame, because otherwise you would want to wait for someone else to take that. Although in this case, it looks like it would have been a cast member anyway.
Yeah. Very wide path out here.
Well, so here's what's significant, though. Look at it. The cast member would have taken it is an SDA, which means Max doesn't know they're a cast member, which means they didn't let someone else take the fingerprint. So if Max was committed to a frame, you would almost certainly do that there. You would almost certainly forgo that and let the fingerprint go to somebody else.
Yeah. So we burned a lot of time. We've only picked up one fingerprint here. Ambassador did Ambassador just leave a fingerprint on the statue? I don't think so. That was someone else.
No, and the ST is still just moving around. And if you had a flirt now, you'd be in a very different position, but you don't. You need to go and you need a green right now if you want to try to finish it all. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting for AI to finish, and at the moment, it doesn't feel like they're quite going to.
Yeah, the problem with not flirting here is Kaylee usually doesn't watch for flirt. Obviously, he'll do it on balcony, and he will sometimes do it on 3 of 5, he said before.
Yeah,
but it's
that's
just
not the problem. The problem is he could ignore you obviously flirting completely, and you still might not get it done if you just bounced back and forth. You just don't even have time. It has nothing to do with what the sniper's even looking at. It could be totally free. The sniper could be blind. You just don't have time here. And there was another unforced error there. Max is waiting at windows while the ST is alone in a conversation and misses the chance to get that flirt off, has to chase them sort of to another one. Just a lot of bad time management here, I think. A lot of bad luck, too, with this seduction target bouncing around, but just has not been proactive enough.
I think Max needs to be very aware of who's been to statues right now. Like, especially, say, Cowboy, or Tex, however you want to call him. He's been a highlight for a while. He's been in this conversation. Probably Kaylee just credits him with flirt being done.
Yes.
So if
this has to be good
Cowboy,
BB. It has to be.
If Cowboy can be in a contact.
Yeah, and here's the problem. It looks like this might be a good contact, but it isn't. We know it isn't. And
well, we've got one highlight in there.
He's not even going to be able to finish here. The game is effectively over. And that knocks out Slim. basically nobody could be done here. General's the only highlight who could have done a It's just going to be a time ad into a shot.
Yeah, here comes a white time ad. And shot, yep.
Yeah. I'm a little confused by that because the decision to take that fingerprint, again, not knowing that was a cast member in line for the drink, does not let Smallman, of all people, who, if you want to frame, there's one of your best targets, does not let them take the print, which shows that they're not necessarily looking to frame. At the very least, they want to keep that option open. That's fine. If you want to do that, though, you have to be making steady progress throughout so that at the end, you don't have to do something like that. I think that was just not committing either way and also not keeping your options open with quite the right balance that you need to.
Yeah, and so we're down 4-0, but this is the map where you're going to swing it back, right? This is Taeyen. This is KrazyCaley's Bane.
Mm-hmm. I mean, relatively speaking, at least.
Yes, of course. There is no true Bane for this amazing Spy Party player, but if there was to be said, if he was, if he is said to have one, this is it.
Yes.
Starting off with a flirt for Caley.
Yep, you don't have to rush here. You've got a jumpy sniper, you've got a big lead, and you've got a venue where you can finish a lot late if you need to.
And look at that ambassador. He goes back there, so you might have an opportunity for a reverse drive-by.
You're not in a great position for it, though. Look at this. There's no Shoji cover. There's very little human cover, for that matter, too. And the ambassador goes around anyway, so now I don't think that would have been the highest percentage play. It's actually very similar to the one for Catnip for Goad as Teal on Taeyan as well.
Yeah, but I mean, general in this case, you had general kind of covering you up, so
A little bit.
It would have been a little bit better.
Well,
than,
from the sniper side, there's a lot of wheels sticking out there. So I don't know. It depends. It depends on what they're watching. I think if you're watching for it, so here's the thing. There are bugs on Taeyan where you can be watching for them and not catch them. This was the kind of bug where if he was watching, he could have theoretically caught it, at least. Doesn't mean he will be watching, but it wouldn't have been invisible.
And back to the old adage of Taeyan, there will be a better bug.
There will be a better bug. Just wait a few minutes. And Caley sure looks like he wants to finish here.
Yeah, he's picking up the fingerprint and some inspects on this. Does pick up the rote highlight for it, looks like. Although maybe it's not so rote. Do we see a highlight for our other two statue visitors right now?
No, I think it's more like a could be done with inspects. Might have something to do with the fingerprint on there too.
Yeah, the fingerprint might actually be what it's for, because I believe that Mac Edward Snax is not really a highlight for statues that much.
No, he hasn't so far, and you can certainly make an argument for all sorts of different highlight strategies on Taeyan.
So
banana bread.
Green contact. There was a bit of risk there. If you white contacted, you would have been stuck in the contact animation, talking there for a while.
With a wit list being offered to you, right?
Ooh, but we get shot.
Well, there it is.
Get shot right there.
Yeah, just on him. Too aggressive. I can't imagine that's a 100% shot from Max. I think that's more like a 65 to 70% shot. But
yeah,
those are the shots. I mean, you're going to have to take those sometimes. So
on Taeyan, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to take shots you're uncomfortable with, and well, staying alive.
And
you got to win this.
Gotta win this.
To win this.
But look at the Shoji setup. Much nicer. Whoa!
Bug. Just bug and caught.
Bug. Just bugged and just got caught.
It's just too quick. Look at it. You can see the lean.
Yeah.
Nothing to say.
Nope. There is that lean there, and Caley just is on it. Oop.
And we're on to Terrace.
Yep. Terrace. Here we go. Terrace, not where you want to be.
No.
Because Caley is at 5-1 right now. And Terrace is very hard for the spy to win. So, so you're gonna have to do something crazy as Max here to pull just this nearly, very likely 5, or very likely 5 match points essentially.
Right.
Because you kind of have to assume that Caley's probably going to win this sniper game on Taeyan, the least spy favorite of all of the 3 of 5 maps. But it's not impossible to get by him. Looks
Well,
like we're going to be
Kaylee
lighting
sees
for.
Kaylee sees the bar rush and decides to go. Probably not doing that, except he's gonna purloin instantly. This is Kaylee's move on pub, by the way. Normally, is the instant immediate purloin,
He
and I
gulps
think
too.
he's
He
gonna
d-
hope. So the goal here is that it looks like he decided not to take a drink, like he got impatient
no,
and
but
left.
he just gets shot.
Yeah, it's an all or nothing play. It's an all or nothing play. It's basically if you get away with it, you win the game very likely.
And that's two
Otherwise, you lose.
very quick games heading into Kaylee's sniper on terrace. And that's the thing we have seen from Kaylee before that he's liked to do on terrace to win these games. In group stages, we saw him double green flirt, banana bread right into a direct purloin and
Right.
take that timer before they could shoot.
Right. And again, this immediate purloin at the start of the game is something he likes to do, and not just on terrace. He did it against me in week 4 of SCL in the very first game we played, and he was hair there too. He did the immediate purloin at the bar. The idea being, again, who would do that? Who would not delegate at the start during a bar rush? If you gulp and get away with it, it's over.
Yeah, and
It's a little underrated, but if you are ready for it, the game is just over.
exactly. It's over one way or the other, depending how that goes.
Yeah, and Kaylee with this lead and on a setup where he's going to have a hard time winning a spy anyway, why not, right? Why not just take that Hail Mary and keep the pressure on? But Max responds very admirably to it.
Yeah. Interestingly, here from Max, he picks up the briefcase and takes the fingerprint off of it, and that's something that I actually don't like that much because, as far as fingerprints go, briefcase is pretty much always going to be taken by someone. You know, you could argue that this statue fingerprint that's sitting around right now maybe won't ever be taken by an AI, but that briefcase will eventually get taken.
Yeah, because there
So
are rules about it.
yeah, but so taking off that fingerprint and now taking a fingerprint off this drink. So we've got the fingerprints done, and I have to say Kaylee's probably on top of it. It wasn't very subtle.
No, it wasn't. But it could still be a tough shot to take, certainly, if he does finish quickly enough here.
Flirt across the conversation. It's up to 62%. A little bit out of range of a close white for our 3 flirts, but
And you can't be B here because you're one of only 2 people who could have done a reel.
yeah, that's just not something you can do.
The only way it works is if it's so counterintuitive that there's no way he's going to think it's real. I've had that work occasionally, but it's a pretty high risk strategy.
No talk in that conversation. Doesn't look like Kaylee noticed.
And it doesn't matter because either way, it's down to 2. And I think at this point, he really is just waiting to hear a BB and shoot Papa.
Another flirt comes off. We only have 30 seconds left, and we are 79% on that flirt. So we're
Yeah,
kinda
and
hurting for time.
not that the purloin was likely to happen, but it has expired, and that's technically a gulp, but it's after at least 1 sip, so who cares?
We just leave the conversation with the double agent.
I
I think
I
we have to
got it.
BB before we leave there.
I mean, he's trying to frame someone, I assume. I just don't know who it would be. I think he's thinking, you're gonna run out of time here. The idea I think was gonna be,
Purloin happens,
and he gets
and
it
he
done
gets
with the
shot for
seduce
it.
at the same time, and it doesn't matter. I wonder if he leaves earlier, what he can do is delegate BB, and then it'll go pending as he delegates. But I don't think it really matters at that point. I think nobody else was doing enough, and Kaylee was aware the fingerprints were done.
And now we're on to Ballroom, one of the more spy favored maps, not TN, not, not anything like that, but it is fairly even. And as far as most venues go, that's spy favored.
Yeah, in fact, in all of SCL, 4 seasons total, all with New Art Ballroom, by the way, except for one tiebreaker game, I think, back in season 1, spies have won at a 51% rate.
So even the numbers support a slight spy advantage on Ballroom.
Yeah.
Bug coming off. That bug. It was actually not really much of a bug path because Kaylee was really far away from the ambassador, and it's just barely was in range for enough time. It was a really well timed bug, and that's just the experience of thousands and thousands and thousands of games. You can see right there.
Yeah, getting just close enough to do the bug and no closer so that it's much less likely to register as a bug path. and looks pretty clean. And you got to imagine Caley is just going to go full barrel ahead now.
Yeah, here comes the flirt
Banana
into a
bread.
stop talk into a contact.
Yep, it's going to be boom, boom, probably statues flirt in some order coming up next. Just going to try to finish real quick and end the set.
Yeah, and this could be it. This is match point.
Yeah. And, Max knows that, and Max also knows that he's taken a couple jumpy shots maybe earlier in the match, so he's really not going to want to shoot Caley here. I wonder if Caley can stop himself from swapping here. It's the kind of thing he would do. I'm not kidding. I think he will. I think he's going to press his advantage carefully with the seduce. He knows this would be a little too fancy. But geez, would you really shoot for it, or would you wait and narrow down the party?
Yeah, and getting away with that bug is just so insanely critical because you have to, as the sniper, you don't think that you've missed a bug, right? There is oh, I probably missed a bug unless you're not very confident in your sniper skills.
Well, that's the thing, right? You actually need to get better. You have to have a pretty good self-assessment about how likely you are to miss certain missions. If you're not very good at bug, that's actually only really bad if you don't know you're not good at it. If you know you're not good at it, you can adjust accordingly and adjust the risk-reward ratios that you use to decide when to shoot. But in this case, I don't think there's even, oh, I might have missed a bug.
Yeah, no, there is just no indication at all. He knew, and there's a wrong shot, and that's gonna wrap up the set in KrazyCaley's favor, 7-2.
Yeah, 7-2, and only a handful of the games particularly close. We saw some pretty sharp sniping from Max here and there. We saw him. He didn't fall for any of Caley's little tricks there for the most part.
No
He
cheese.
lost. Yeah, didn't fall for any cheese. Didn't eat the cheese. Mostly won the games that he absolutely was supposed to. Where Caley tried to, I say disrespect, but you know what I mean. Not a literal disrespect, but dare
Yeah,
him to catch something brazen, right?
Caley will
And
do that against anybody. It's not a disrespect.
sure. Right. It's like I'm going to do something obvious, and we're going to see if you catch it. And Max actually did his job there. He did catch those. The games he lost to were mostly the ones that were paced really well, where Caley didn't go for that swap late, like I was talking about, right? Where he just got his bug in 2 different games actually, and then calmly pressed his advantage the rest of the way. No reason to mess around there, and you see that in the result, 7-2.
Yeah, and that is it for our matches for today. However,
yeah, we promised some more revelations, didn't we?
Yes, being that we're no longer casting any more of the round of 16, we can now reveal the results for some of the games that have already been played. So what we've got so far is our very own Morning Track versus Kote. Took that set 7-4.
Yes, and Kade, I thought, actually played really well. I did have one very frustrating spy loss on Gallery that turned on a couple different crazy things late, but he made a nice little comeback there at the end. We had several really close games near the end there too, and boy, I would have never guessed if I didn't see the number myself that Kade only had about 800 games played.
Yeah, he performed admirably. Four wins is actually the most wins any loser has had in the round of 16 so far. As we get into our next couple of matches that we're going to be revealing, Rio, I believe it is, versus Yeesh.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, Rio takes that set 7-3, which is a pretty big upset as far as most people's expectations.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. So Bear, we're also revealing, by the way, beats Iggy 7-1, fairly lopsided there. But Bear's been on a nice little hot streak. They might have been hoping to avoid Yeesh, but be careful what you wish for because that Rio Bear matchup looks tough.
Yeah, they'll be running right into each other in our quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So it'll be definitely an interesting matchup. As far as the people who have won their games, KrazyCaley has just won and will be going up against Podnoob in our quarterfinals.
Yep. So those are the only 2 matchups we have set right now. It's going to be Caley and Podnoob at the top of the bracket, and Rio and a Bear at the bottom. We obviously know Lazy Bear will advance to face either David W or Cartwright, but we don't know which yet, and I don't know if I'm playing you or Screw Loose yet.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to have to play Screw Loose probably today or tomorrow.
Yep. So 6 of the 8 are set, and 2 of the second round matchups are set.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Going up against you if I can make it there.
I hope I'll take either way. I'm either going to face you or Screw Loose is going to beat you, and either way, I'm going to have to take it very seriously. And if either of us advances, we're going to have either Noob or Caley to contend with. So there's a lot going on, and this really could go either way. So really, we've only seen one upset so far, though, with Yeesh there.
Yeah. So as we said, That's going to be very exciting as we get into our later rounds to see some really heavy hitters go against each other.
Yeah, mismatches in the first round. Nothing too bad, but that's what happens with tournaments like this. But we are getting to the point where something's got to give. Unstoppable forces are meeting immovable objects. Something's going to happen. Stay tuned.
Yeah, Podnoob and KrazyCaley, Lazy Bear versus David W maybe. But
Yeah.
and really where it gets exciting is probably going into our semifinals if we see some of the favorites keep winning. We could see Warning Track versus Kaylee in semifinals. That would be
We could. We could.
pretty
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Lazy
I
Bear
think you
maybe
and me
versus
could be pretty exciting too. I think it's all been pretty good matches so far. I think it's all great matches the rest of the way.